PR Connections Radio presents. This show is brought to you by Paid Per Letter. Write letters and make a difference. paidperletter.com/Uncle Dan.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. My name is Guy Dawson, and I am your host. And today I am here with my good friend Tina Brice, and she is going to be launching another show on our network. For those of you who tune into these shows regularly, you know that we have a host of shows here at PRConnectionsRadio.com in different genres, and we have not yet had a show in the genre of music. And Tina Brice is here. She is going to be the hostess of Inside the Music, a brand new show that we're going to be bringing to you here on the network. Tina, welcome to the PR Connection Show.
Hi, Guy. Thank you for having me.
So journalism and music, will you share about, with the audience, how you're going to be presenting a journalistic perspective to music on the network?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world, and a lot of our things that happen here are on more of a major scale. So I kind of want to look at the not the lower side, but the less known side, and bring that to the forefront, kind of put a spotlight on up and coming artists and talking with venues about what goes into putting on a show, how often shows happen, things that go wrong, so many different avenues and areas of it.
And with Vegas, Tina, being the entertainment capital of the world, I mean, we have big everything here. I mean, lots of artists come here to perform, of course, on the arenas on the Strip, the showrooms on the Strip. I mean, all forms of entertainment are really very prevalent here, just the nature of our city. But when you were talking about the local scene, I think a lot of people don't understand that there is a really big local scene in terms of music here in Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely gets overshadowed by, Dead and Company at the Sphere or the Adele residency or a Lady Gaga residency. But there are a lot of up and coming artists here in the city that play smaller venues. There's a lot of places like the Sand Dollar that does live music every night. Tommy Rockers, they do live music. These little places that aren't as well known to the general public, more well known to Las Vegas locals. So I kind of want to see about that. I went to a show at the Airy Legion out in Henderson, and it's just like a room with linoleum floors and fluorescent lights, and that was it. So people are trying to make it happen here in Vegas, which is really, really cool.
All cities have a local music scene, Tina. I think that is a lot of times over or undershadowed, and some of your greatest artists who end up becoming these big stars that we see very prominently, as you had mentioned, they started out in very humble beginnings, as you mentioned, playing in small venues, and the next thing you know, they're huge stars.
Yep. I'm very lucky in the fact that I grew up in LA, and so I got to go to concerts every weekend. I got to see some of the biggest names in the industry now play these little rinky-dinky venues, some that don't even exist anymore, and getting to see the bands and be up close and personal with them, and then to see their success has just been truly amazing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? When you connect, I mean, I have two instances that you relate to. Is that when I was in high school, we used to watch Sublime. The band Sublime is from Long Beach, and I remember when those guys used to play in people's garages.
Yep.
And you could pay $5 and you could go and see Sublime. I mean, they were a great, great group even then, but no one knew who they were. And now, of course, they're this worldwide band that people know about. And I also I know Snoop Dogg. And Snoop Dogg was just this young kid. He was a rapper. He was really good and raw, but Snoop Dogg was not a star back in 1989, 1988, way before the stardom. So yes, these huge stars, they've all had a beginning, right? And you being from LA, we're very aware of that out in California, because there's a huge local music scene in the cities out in California.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember in high school, I would go and watch a band called Let Live play at the El Segundo Rec Center. And now they're like world known. They recently broke up, and now the main guy's doing his own thing now. But there's them, there's the Ghost Inside. I remember trying to get Fall Out Boy to play my high school's spring fling festival that we had, but the timing just didn't add up. Like, they were responding, but they just couldn't make it happen. So it's crazy to think about.
Right. And it's not always about superstardom either, right, Tina? I mean, the majority of artists are not going to become, that's a very small percentage of people, like I'm describing, or you're describing these bands that are very famous, but that's the 2% or 3% of people who actually are in the music scene. But that doesn't mean that they don't create great music and that they're not outstanding performers. And I guess you sort of starting to do some coverage of that. Everybody's got a space to fill.
Yeah. I remember, when I was younger and trying to get into new music, I would go to a website called Pure Volume and just kind of hit shuffle and just let whatever pop up. And these were all bands that had uploaded their own music. It wasn't like Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that, where it was bigger bands that were just kind of put into a playlist. And I feel like that's one thing I do like about TikTok as well, is you get these artists that are uploading their work themselves. So yeah, they may be a smaller artist, but you're getting exposure to all kinds of different levels of success in a sense.
Right. And nowadays we have so many different platforms related to technology, as you mentioned. I mean, back in the days, we didn't have the opportunities to, with the digital world, right? With all the internet, and now you've got all these streaming platforms. Those things just didn't exist. Would you say that there is a lot more opportunity that are available now for people who want to get their music out there? Again, maybe you're not going to be this massive star that everyone hears about, but people enjoy music. I mean, it's a big part of the human experience.
Yeah, I think just the level of social media in our world today has definitely led to many more avenues for people to promote their music, to get in contact directly one-on-one with the fans, to kind of build that audience and that trust. And I think having the access to the music through these streaming platforms, like I used to have to go out and pay $25 for a CD, and all I got were the 10 or 12 songs on that CD. Whereas now I pay, $10 a month and I have a catalog of 1 billion songs. Mm-hmm. So I definitely think that it's also a little bit more difficult because now there are so many artists and everyone has kind of a little bit of a level playing field rather, that trying to be that one, it's going to take a lot more work and a little bit of luck. But if that's not what you're striving for, if you're striving to do music because you love it and, this is what makes you happy and you don't care about being the next Beyonce or whatever, this is a great, great time for you.
Yeah. And as a journalist, what excites you when you are talking to people about their music careers? Is this something that you've always had a curiosity about? Have you maybe share your background in terms of being a music journalist?
Yeah, so I have always been interested in music. Ever since I could walk, I've been dancing. My brother was really into music. He went to an arts high school. He studied music. So I've always been around that, I was also in my high school's, we called it the Academy, but it was a visual and performing arts program, and they had different departments, and all of my friends were in the music department, which was really interesting because I was in theater. But I got to see a lot of the work and the blood, sweat, and tears that go into making things happen. I love talking to people in the industry when they have that passion, that fire inside, seeing what it is about the music that stands out to them. You know, for me, it's been an outlet. It's been something where I can feel not as alone, and I love it. So I love to hear from the opposite side, the people who are making the music. What does this mean to them?
Right. And I think that so fits the name Inside the Music, Tina, that we developed for this, is that a lot of people, they love to hear the stories about the background, right? What happens inside the music? And there's a lot that goes into that, right? I mean, a lot of years of hard work, learning your craft, to be a singer, to play an instrument, to be a performer. This isn't something that just happens overnight and that all of a sudden you're this great musical performer.
I mean, there are some people who are born with the vocals like Christina Aguilera, but for most people, yes, it does take a lot of practice, a lot of time, a lot of patience. And one thing I don't think necessarily that's talked about enough is the highs and lows of motivation. You know, you get to those times where you feel like you're going to give up, but I want to know what pushes these people, what makes them keep going? What is it about it that makes them not want to give up?
Yeah, because as you mentioned, it's a very competitive industry, and there's not a lot of. It's not that there isn't a lot of spots out there for great music, but yeah, really at that top tier, as you know, as we were talking about, there's very few people that tend to make it to that level. And like as you mentioned, what gets you motivated enough to get out there and want to continue to perform? People, I think some people just have a natural affinity for performing, right? They just like to make people feel good. I mean, some songs are just, you know, Tina, you listen to music and you have all these memories throughout your life of certain songs, and people can really connect with you through their music.
Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that music doesn't always have to be this serious level. Like you have bands like the Bloodhound Gang that their songs are funny. They're entertainment. You're enjoying that experience with that person. But having that connection to the music also, getting to see all the different facets is just so interesting.
Right. Yeah. And as you mentioned, again, here in Vegas, we have a very prominent local music scene, and it's going to be very interesting to see who you connect with and to be able to hear their stories. And as I mentioned, I'm a lover of music just like you, and I had just really wanted to bring something related to music onto the network. And I'm so looking forward to hearing you get out there and be a music journalist. I mean, what a great field to be a part of, right? We think of Rolling Stone, we think of, I mean, I grew up when MTV was in development. So I remember very, very early on, the reporters, they're a part of us too, right? These people that report on the music. And here you are, you're going to get an opportunity to be someone who we look to as an expert when it comes to interviewing artists.
Yeah, I'm really excited to this new digital age of VJing, as they used to call it on MTV, with Kurt Loder and Carson Daly and all those things, that taking it to a new platform there's going to be a learning curve for sure. But again, like we were talking about earlier, it opens up so many areas that you can go into that weren't accessible before. So I definitely think this is going to be an interesting experience. I know for me, not only in the music scene, but I know we talked earlier about your friend who's a music teacher. I would love to kind of dive in on the side of the music and arts in Las Vegas school districts, and what are we doing to continue that education and that environment for children to have that outlet.
Right. Yeah. There are so many perspectives when, the different genres of music and those elements, the development of people. And I know that used to be a really prominent part of the curriculum of schools was the arts. And it would be learning instruments and learning how to perform. I remember learning how to play the drums when I was in elementary school. And I think I did the violin, I did the cello. And I know a lot of those programs have been eliminated from the school district. So yes, how are we continuing to support people in developing them as musical artists? Or for me, I really didn't have a great ability when it came to that, but just the fact that I got to learn how to play the drums, it isn't something that I carried on into my life, but it was definitely a part of my development as a human being, were those experiences that I had as a young person, just learning how to play an instrument.
Yeah, I also played the violin in elementary school. So it kind of taught me about practice and perseverance and living up to things that you committed to. So it kind of put a lot of those good habits in at a very young age, which I think it's invaluable.
Yeah, the discipline that it takes. And so that'll be interesting to see if you doing those types of interviews. Yeah, there's just so many different elements of music that you can branch into with this, Tina. And for our audience out there, when are they going to be able to tune in to watch your podcast?
So yeah, my podcast is going to air the first and third Mondays of every month at 5 p.m. As of now, my first show is going to be airing July 1st.
Wow, that's so exciting, Tina. And for us, again, here at prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media, we are all about the diversity of shows. And so here we are. Now we're starting to, with Tina's show, Inside the Music, we're starting to move into the musical genre. And that's what we want to do. We want to entertain you on a lot of different levels. And so, yes, tune into Inside the Music, and you're going to learn more about the Las Vegas music scene and these interesting interviews that Tina is going to be conducting. And then is there anything else, Tina, that you want people to know about Inside the Music or you as a music journalist?
I'm just super excited, and I hope you're ready to take this ride with me.
Well, I know the network, we're more than ready and looking forward to this element that you're going to be bringing to our programming. And so again, tune into Inside the Music with Tina Brice. She is going to celebrate the music industry as a journalist, and keep up the amazing work, Tina.
Thank you.
And of course, we want to continue to invite all of you to tune into our network, prconnectionsradio.com. All of our shows are housed on our website, prconnectionsradio.com. And so you can check out archives of all of our shows. Of course, we are also on social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, and X. And also over on YouTube, will you please subscribe and like our podcast? Yes, subscribe to our network over on YouTube. And hey, we've got a lot of exciting shows in the works, including Inside the Music. Stay tuned for more shows here at prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media. See you soon.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.